Let's get some legal advice from our panel. Attorney and political commentator John Musca and a criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor and former Suffolk County Assistant District Attorney Michael Brown. Hi, guys. Welcome. John, you first. Is there anything that the defense can do to pressure the judge to recuse herself? And what are the odds of a change of venue? Because no serious person believes that President Trump can get a fair trial in the swamp.
Chris, that's absolutely correct. I mean, obviously, the District of Columbia is overwhelmingly anti-Trump, and there's just no way ever that Donald Trump is going to get a fair trial in the District of Columbia. So as his defense team should prioritize in that regard and seeking a change of venue. I could tell you, though, in federal court, that's a big ask, and that's a tall order, and I think that's going to be hard to establish.
Yeah, what about pressuring the recusal of this judge?
Look, with this judge's connection to the Biden administration, the Obama administration in particular, I would think that would be a huge priority for defense counsel to pursue and to pursue quickly. Particularly, look, Donald Trump is not happy about the denial of the extra time within which to respond to the protective order. So I think he has valid claims in that regard.
Michael, the DOJ dragged its feet, waiting until the primary to file this case. Now, after 2 years, 2.5 years, they want to cram the trial in before the election. How is this not election interference on the part of the DOJ?
Yeah, obviously, when you use a criminal prosecution to affect an election, that's patently unfair. So clearly, this trial should take place after the election, and that smells of politics at its worst.
No, I'm right there with you. And John, back in 2020, Joe Biden went nuts on a reporter for daring to ask him about Hunter's parole, his role, I should say, parole, if only, his role on the board of Burisma. Watch.
And no one's found anything wrong with his dealings with Ukraine, except they say it sets a bad image.
Would you agree that it sets a bad image?
And my son said that.
Do you think it was wrong for him to take that position?
No.
Knowing that it was really because that company wanted access to you?
Well, that's not true. You're saying things you do not know what you're talking about. No one said that. Who said that?
Don't you think that it's just one of those things where people think, well, that seems kind of sleazy. Why would he have that job if not for who his father was?
Because he's a very bright guy.
Okay, well, it's come out since that's exactly why Hunter Biden was there. Despite the evidence that we've seen in the past few months, Democrats still insist there's no evidence of a crime here. Does that pass the smell test to you?
Chris, there's plenty of evidence. It's well documented. It's interesting now that, the timeliness of this indictment is interesting as President Trump is in the middle of his campaign, and the attention that the media is given to this indictment versus, Hunter Biden's, incidents, or I should say collection of incidents is just overwhelming.
That's true. Collection of incidences. Now, Michael, according to House Oversight Chair James Comer, the committee could release Joe Biden's overseas bank records as early as next week. Now, offshore accounts by the leader of the socialists who continually complains that the rich are not paying their fair share. That's not a good look politically. But how much legal jeopardy do you think Joe Biden might be in because of this?
Well, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we're talking about the timing of different allegations. We talked about how the Trump indictment came forth leading into the primary season. That's problematic. And the flip side is true as well. The legal system should never be utilized to affect politics in either situation. I agree with John in the sense that the indictment itself is pretty powerful. If you took a look at that 45-page indictment, what's important to note, Chris, is the actual January 6th incident is really the culmination of what they're alleging. There's so many acts that are listed in the indictment as in terms of overt acts from the election forward, which I think a lot of people are overlooking.
Well, no, I understand about that. But about Joe Biden, of course, these actions that he's alleged to have taken Michael, that these started back when he was Obama's VP. So the feet have been dragging a lot in DOJ and FBI to bring accountability to Joe Biden for what he's been up to for close to a decade now, and many concede probably longer than that. So again, I mean, justice delayed is justice denied. If these overseas records paint a pattern of foreign graft, and he's got these overseas accounts with all this money because he was asking, journalists, hey, where'd all the money go? And it ends up in these foreign accounts. That's a problem legally, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it would be. And anytime you have influence, that's problematic. I think any president should be an open book, and any presidential candidate should be an open book. So certainly things like those records should be disclosed.
All right, John Musca and Michael Brown. Guys, thank you very much. Great discussion. Appreciate it.